Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very, very, very special episode of the podcast formerly known as Chrono Speakeasy, but now, from the fiery ashes of Phoenix, reemerges as the Graphic Multiverse, which is going to be the name of the website, but the podcast is just Multiversed.
Yes, welcome to the first episode of Multiversed.
Yeah, very exciting. Very, very,
Wednesday,
very exciting.
No more.
Wednesday, no more. We're just Multiverse, so hopefully we're easier to find. So go tell your friends and your mom.
Yes, definitely your mom.
Because my mom listens, so.
Chandler's mom also listens. She leaves comments on our website, and it's awesome.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is fantastic. I didn't know that. Well, no, I mean, this is a great time for us because, and for you, the listener, because we're kind of on a schedule now of what we record and what we write. In fact, today, April 1st, 2019, you'll now find 2 new articles up on the website, written by Rob Nordberg and yours truly.
Yeah.
What a
We're going to get right in again.
Yeah. No, you're right, though. It's like you look back at like your first drafts of stuff and you're like, how did I get through college?
I know, seriously. I was almost an English major because that's how undecided I was.
Oh, man.
I was like, I guess I could put words on paper. Not that I like doing it. I don't know. I feel like I'm a much better orator, but then I listen to like the podcast we record. I'm like, what am I doing?
I know. Basically, we're just not good at anything except documenting our silly thoughts about comic books.
Documenting our nerdy mediocrity forever.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Multiversed. Welcome to the mediocrity. But the important thing is, though, is that we're having fun. And I always have fun recording these, so.
Mm-hmm. And I hope the listeners have fun listening to them as well.
All the moms out there, hope you're having fun. So it seems particularly fitting that the first episode, our first steps into the multiverse, we're talking about the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight, the Batman. Pretty pumped. He's 80.
Yeah.
What was his 80th birthday this past weekend?
Yeah, 80th anniversary, 1000th issue. Funny how those magically lined up.
I know. I can't believe 1,000 issues of Detective Comics.
Do you think it's actually the 1000th? Because there's the weird New 52 where like the numbering broke up. They're doing some weird shenanigans to make it line up.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, though, that if you lined up everything that had the words Detective Comics on the cover...
There's probably more than 1,000, but I'll give it to him.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, though, I mean, Batman's been around for 80 years. I mean, Batman debuted in Detective Comics, issue 27, in the year of our Lord, 1939. And if you think about it, I mean... I don't care what you say about comics. What a sheer stroke of literary genius to write something, and then 80 years later, there's still movies, there's still books, music. I mean, yeah.
It's one of the cool things about comic books, or just like this style of serialized storytelling, where you kind of hand off your creation for others to kind of take the reins and do with it as they please. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, I mean, it happens in movies, I guess, where you'll have like Jurassic Park and then Spielberg stops and other people slowly destroy the franchise. But then, yeah.
Or look at James Bond.
Yeah, like I feel like James Bond is doing it right.
I mean, Ian Fleming, that was his baby. And then, it's, I think, comics and especially these characters, I think, it comes down to the storytelling, and it's almost kind of primal in the kind of the stories being handed down, but they had to still be relevant to have last as long as they did, and I think one of the reasons why is it's really kind of coming to terms with pain, I would say, for Batman, because not everybody can relate to being a super fucking rich orphan. raised by a badass ex-spy butler. But I think the helplessness, abandonment, I think those are timeless themes. So I think that's what helps Batman soar above the skyline for as long as he has.
It's also cool ass design, and as many people, we just judge books by their cover, and Batman is a cool cover.
True, it is, and of course, it's hard to not talk about Batman without talking about Bob Kane, and especially Bill Finger, who, as far as I'm concerned, is the real creator of Batman. I mean, and that's not the Multiverse's opinion. I'm not speaking on behalf of the podcast, but as an individual, I feel that Bill Finger should get the credit, because all Bob Kane thought of, like, the name, and the concept was like a dude in a fucking red onesie and bat wings and a domino mask. That was Batman. And then Bill Finger redesigned the costume, made it darker. He coined Gotham City. He gave the origin, the villains. I mean, most of the things you love about Batman came from Bill Finger. And if you haven't seen it, check out the documentary Batman and Bill. That documentary is fantastic, and it gives you just a new love for the character.
Yeah, it was on Hulu for a while. It probably still is. It's pretty easy to find. It's good stuff.
Please check it out. But yeah, so thankfully Bill Finger got his justice. He's now whenever you see a relatively new DC movie or TV show, it'll say Bob Kane with Bill Finger, and that's great. So yeah. And there's just so many Batman things out there. Like, we have Gotham that's coming up on its final season. And then just when you think we couldn't get enough of Batman, we're getting a Pennyworth TV show.
Jesus.
It's almost... Did you see the Teen Titans go to the movies?
No, I haven't.
Oh, man. Well, there's a scene...
I know, it's been on my list.
Yeah, there's a scene, not a spoiler, but when they're in the movie theater and they're watching a trailer and they're hyping it up like it's all for Robin, but it's actually a movie about Alfred. And it's almost just like, oh... That's funny, because we'll probably never get an Alfred story, and then here we are, we're getting an Alfred TV show. Which
it's
I'm
so
okay
dumb, because I mean, it's not dumb, because again, I'm down for it, but it's like all they have to do to like pander to us is be like, it's just a spy thing, but the spy is Alfred from Batman, and you're like, wait, what? Yeah. I'm in.
Well, what I like is that it's not totally out of left field, it's canon. That Alfred was like this British spy, espionage, soldier thing. Like, I remember learning about that when there was the episode of Batman, the animated series, called The Unicorn and the Lion. And it was all about Alfred. Like, just kind of having to... I think an old mission got exposed, and he had to go back to merry old England. Yeah, and what actually made me excited about the possibility of an Alfred show was the Scott Snyder All-Star Batman, where they did a really good job of painting Alfred's backstory. And it makes sense, and that you would have somebody like Alfred being in Bruce Wayne's life to help form Batman. I love even in the Dark Knight movie, where you have Alfred helping him with his stitches, and he's talking about Burma and jewels the size of tangerines, and it makes sense that he would have somebody, because what else would Alfred do? I'm proficient in the deadly skill of making 17 types of tea.
He just wanted to have a nice retirement, but still be action adjacent.
Yes, you see, I think he's an adrenaline junkie
for sure.
So. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Yes, we had the Alfred show, and then Gotham, and there's another Batman movie on the horizon. Who knows when we'll see it? But there's a lot of talk about it. But I'm excited to dive into the 1,000th, supposedly 1,000th issue of Detective Comics, which was a whopping $10.99, which is usually not that high for a comic book. That's like a trade paperback, maybe?
Yeah,
magazines.
If it's an image one, it's even more expensive than that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, but I mean, for $10, it is a beefy comic book. And I feel like nowadays some just like random issues of comic books that aren't even that good. It's like a normal 20-page story and then some 5-page backup that you don't care about. It's like $6. So paying $10, you get 10 stories. It's an anthology.
Yeah,
They're
I
all
love
kind
it.
of, with the exception, I think, of the last one, they're all kind of not in the current canon. They're just kind of evergreen stories.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do like these anthology books. Some of them are usually hit or miss. I think this one is pretty solid throughout.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think what sold me was the reunion of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
With the very first one.
Yeah, which, as far as I'm concerned, that's like probably one of the best Batman arcs out there. I mean, Zero Year and Endgame, not to be confused with the Avengers Endgame, but Death of the Family. I mean, his run was.
Yeah, I think when you were moving to Colorado, I think I recorded like a 50-minute episode of the show of just me talking to myself about Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman.
It's so good.
Because I didn't even need notes. I was like, I'm just going to start talking about it.
Yeah, I mean,
and we went on for almost an hour.
Seriously. But I'm sold on that first panel. The first story is Batman's longest case. I love that we open up on the Gotham City skyline. I love that Batman has these like Wolverine like hook cloth things, and he's got a flashlight. I'm always excited when I see Batman with a flashlight because there's some detective work going down, and it's not just car chases and fighting ninjas. This is a cerebral journey.
I love this first story because it read almost like a children's book. How it's basically like Batman talking about each clue he found and how it leads to the next clue, and it just goes step by step by step by step, and it's literally just like 50 panels of him just finding new clues and slowly moving further and further into the mystery.
It's great.
And it's kind of like how a children's book, it's always just like one page after another. The story slightly continues.
I found a clue in a box and with the fox.
Exactly.
But no, I also kind of like the traditional like kind of square panels they do of all the different locations. Like I love that he's up in the mountains to the bottom of the ocean in like an old like shipwreck. It's great, and I love the build up to when he's kind of finally hitting the home stretch of this case, and I love the payoff of the guild. And I just love you to see this room. You got Martian Manhunter, Hawkman and Hawkwoman. You got the Question, and you even got like Detective Monkey.
Detective Chimp.
Detective Chimp. And I love what took you so long, pal?
I like how they're literally just like, we're the greatest detectives in the universe, and we're here to just solve mysteries. And it's just another weird group of DC people just hanging out.
I would totally read this comic if they ever decided to do this as a series.
Oh, me too. I like how DC just has infinite amounts of like secret detective societies.
Well, and I also kind of like the idea that there was a secret society that Batman didn't know about.
Well, he's working on it. He's working the case.
True. But I like it because it almost kind of seems like Batman is like 9 steps ahead of everybody, and has the backup plan for the backup plan. So it's just kind of cool that like he discovers something that other people knew about. Like if I were Hawkman, I would be rubbing that in his face every Justice League meeting. Like, remember how I knew about the society and you didn't? Just saying.
It does make me miss Snyder and Capullo, though.
Oh my god, yeah.
And this is like kind of different Capullo. Like the way he draws Batman's costume is much different. It's more of like the traditional Batman.
Yeah.
Like the first panel, I noticed, like I didn't even realize it was Capullo at first because like the way he draws the eyes is much different than he does in the new stuff.
Yeah.
And the costume is just kind of the traditional solid gray. Doesn't have all the lines and combat boots and stuff.
Right, the new 52 look.
Yeah.
Lines. Lots and lots of lines. Yeah, but I thought that was a nice warm up, and like you said, it certainly makes me miss Snyder and Capullo, because I just talk about a dynamic duo. I mean, I just, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, that's like a near perfect run, especially when just the consistency of the writing and the art. Because you and I always talk about how one of the main things that kills us for a series is when the artists change, and for the most part, I mean, there's only a handful of issues that Capullo didn't do.
Yeah, and even then, even most of the like fill-in episodes were done by the same fill-in artist. Like it was it James Tinian? Is that the artist or is that the writer?
I couldn't. Or no,
Jacques. Jacques did a lot of
the
side stories,
right? And with art like Jacques,
Tinian did some of the,
you're okay with it.
It's cool, and the side stories usually were like adjacent to the main story, but they didn't. I don't know. It didn't feel as jarring as when you're reading like some X-Men book, and every page you flip, it's a completely different artist. You're just like, what is happening?
Yeah, no, those guys were consistent. So if you're looking for good Batman stories, definitely start with Court of Owls, and read from there. It's good stuff. Highly recommended. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The next story is my favorite of this book.
Yeah. So this is the one written by Kevin Smith with art by Jim Lee, and it's kind of about a guy who you learn out turns out to be Alfred, but a guy who kind of goes into like a backwoods pawn shop for crime memorabilia in Gotham City, and he's just talking about all the over-the-topness of Batman's villains and like the stuff they leave behind. And it turns out that he's actually there to buy the gun that killed Batman's parents, which is kind of dark. But then in the end, you find out that Batman's collecting it to kind of melt it down and make it his like chest plate to protect him from bullets.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, it was really like a sweet story in the end.
I mean, for me, that checked all the right boxes. First of all, anytime you get Matches Malone in a story, I'm there, which is like one of Batman's other guises, so to speak. But I did love the the black market crime memorabilia. You just having like the Joker mallet and one of Mad Hatter's top hats and like a penguin umbrella, because I feel like there would be somebody in Gotham pulling that. And I love Jim Lee's art, and I love being able to see Jim Lee draw all of the villains, all the major players anyway.
Yeah, it was funny when I was reading it. I was like, it felt kind of weird because at one point the guy that works at the pawn shop said the word podcast, and I was like, it feels weird somebody talking about podcasts in a Batman comic. And then as soon as I was done and it said written by Kevin Smith, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. I did, and I did like sort of the ending there, when Alfred says to him, "So you found it." I never fought you on the giant penny, and if you recall, I threw my back out helping you get that bloody dinosaur down here. But out of the gun that killed your parents to your trophy collection, that's $2 grand even for you. I first of all, I love the notion of like an actual conversation between Bruce and Alfred about the penny. And
I know. I like
dinosaur.
how they just. I would love to see the like Batman animated series episode where Alfred and Batman are like pushing this shit in there, and he's like, "Why do we have this?" Like,
yeah, no, it's
don't
great.
you have like a forklift for this? Come on.
Yeah, I just love how it's written that the metal that broke my heart as a child, that same metal will protect my heart as a man, and that is justice. And I was like, oh my god, fucking beautiful. And you know what? And this is where I say it to all the haters of Kevin Smith. I mean, sure, yeah, his Canada trilogy is pretty fucking weird. But goddamn,
he's just a dude having a good time.
And that's really, I think, what it all comes down to. I mean, Tusk was a little weird, but I was like, okay. Then Yoga Hoosers
I didn't even watch that one. I'm like, I'm not the target audience for this, even though I love Kevin Smith.
Dude, there's many...
Sausage Nazis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anywho, I digress.
Yeah.
This Kevin Smith Batman story fucking
he gets
killed it.
Batman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, but that was just beautiful. Like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, that could have been, like, the last story in this comic anthology, and that would have been a great way to just end it.
Yeah, like, ended it kind of on a positive note.
Well, yeah, and I think for me, it kind of affects the stories moving forward, because for me... Like, kind of going from Snyder to that was just, like, that is setting the bar so high for me.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say the other stories aren't good, but I feel like it just sort of... That's where it peaked. And I hate when things peak early. Which is why I'm so thankful that this podcast has yet to find an audience.
Exactly. We're still waiting to peak.
Yep. We're marathon runners. We're not sprinters. We're marathon runners.
Exactly. I'm much more of a distance runner. It's true.
Yes.
But I did really like the next story. The Legend of Newt Brody.
Yeah, this is a good one. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying other stories are bad, but this is a good one, and I love Paul Dini. This is Paul Dini, right? Yeah, this is Paul Dini.
It's Paul Dini and Dustin Nguyen.
And I love Dustin Nguyen. And I interviewed... You remember we interviewed Dustin Nguyen?
I do remember that.
What a sweet guy.
He gave you that sweet print.
Oh, I know. It's somewhere in storage in Massachusetts, but it's definitely, it's in my own little vault. That's my giant penny.
Yeah, but I loved how they were, just like the framing of the story.
It's very...
kind of in...
I'm sorry.
No, you can go ahead.
I was going to say, it's very Bendis. Like, my first thought was, this is a total Brian Michael Bendis thing, and then it doesn't tell you who was the writer in this first page. So my initial thought was, it's Bendis, because this is what he did in Naomi.
I was going to say, this is exactly how Naomi starts.
Yeah.
The 9-panel page with all the different people talking.
I love it.
Yeah, but I love how it's all like these like villains being like, what? Who? What are you talking about? And then like, oh, that idiot. Okay, yeah.
Like everybody has a Brody story.
Yep. And then you basically just get to hear this story about the worst henchman ever. Like somehow he always keeps getting a job, and he always basically ends up stopping the crime with just his idiocy.
The imbecilic nature of a thug.
Like I love the first one where it's like the Joker and Harley like breaking up some political thing, and then he's like, the thug is holding a sign that says Harley for Vice, and he just like turns around like it's a Three Stooges thing and just knocks Harley out with the sign, and then and then it just, oh man, it's good stuff.
Well, it's great. Yeah, then
like,
him accidentally freezing Mr. Freeze.
Getting Kite Man stuck in a tree.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, this felt like this could have been an animated series episode.
This would have been awesome as an animated series episode.
Yeah. No, and I love like what was with the Mad Hatter. Like you had one job, you were supposed to be the lookout, and you fell asleep. And he's like, "What? I said I was sorry."
I know, it's just like this lovable idiot, and I love that he's literally constantly getting hired by all these criminals, which just goes to show how dumb the Gotham villains are.
Yeah. No, I loved it, and I love the kind of like the Riddler story too, where it's almost like when Riddler talks about it, like in the beginning, like he says about, I'm more bemused by my brush with Brody than anything, and then as he tells the story, he's like, yeah, that guy was an ass. It's like, yeah, I kind of think of it. Yeah, and he just gives him, he gives Batman this riddle to solve, and Brody panics and just gives him the code.
It's like, well, I was messing with your jacket and it fell out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You told him? Like, well, he's scary.
And then you have Poison Ivy, who's just like, yeah, he blew my thing, so I just straight murked him.
Yeah, and then... excuse me. And I love that, like, you kind of find out that Brody, it seems, or at least this is what I took from this, was sort of like matches Malone, where everyone has had their role in playing Brody. It's a good twist.
Yeah, I loved when it just kind of cuts to all of them in the Batcave, and you just see Jarvis like holding the kind of like bulletproof vest or whatever.
Yeah. No, it was great, and I love Damien be like, oh, Brody Jr.
Yeah, I like kind of the short, fun, little goofy stories. Because some of them are a little darker that we'll get to.
Yeah,
but these ones,
yeah,
that one was fun.
the first three are pretty. I mean, the Kevin Smith one is dark, but it has like a nice high note. But yeah, and then what was it? We have the Warren Ellis story next, which I love Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
He
also, the art by Becky Cloonan.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of my favorite looking of all of them.
Yeah.
I think it's like Becky Cloonan and Jordy Belair doing the colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is a gorgeous looking story.
Yeah, I would love a Batman series done by with this art team.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I love Warren Ellis and his Batman stuff because as far as I'm concerned, I mean, he wrote some of my favorite Justice League episodes, and those episodes are just some of the best Batman lines, which I love when they're fighting aliens and his ship gets compromised and he ejects from the ship and he's just like, I'm falling. I need help. Now would be good. Like, I just love the Kevin Conroy deadpan. It's great. But yeah, no, but just, I mean, the colors in this, I mean, everything just fits together so seamlessly.
I just love the smoke and I don't know, Becky Cloonan's art's freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah. I would love to see her being more mainstream. Because she was working on Southern Cross, I think, for a while, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm. I think she wrote Southern Cross.
That's awesome.
If I recall.
Yeah, I remember liking it. I just remember just running out of money.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, it's written by Becky Cloonan.
That's awesome.
But her shit, what I'm thinking of. She did one comic that I really liked. Or are you just thinking of her covers? She does a lot of covers that are really cool.
Yeah. No, but I love this Batman because I just kind of love the colorful indie feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Jordy Belair's colors are always awesome. I feel like there was a point in time when every comic I read, I feel like the colors were done by Jordy Belair. And I was like, damn, someone's working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
yeah, it's specific, like the switch from like the grayish blues to the like red from the fire and stuff. It's so good.
Yeah, I think my favorite panel is when he says F2 and it's just him like among the like just the smoke. And I just love just the just how calculated he is in this story. Like just yeah, he's just like saying just like I don't know, just like these like plans D4, S2. Like it's just I don't know.
It's just Batman being a badass.
Yep. And what I like too is that, and kind of going back to the color, like it starts out so dark, and as the story progresses, it gets brighter and brighter to the point where, it's almost like a light of hope, like a light of redemption for the guy. And I love that. And again, this is such a well written book in general, but the story I just love, like, look at me, I'm already dead, look at me, I'm trapped in this place and all I do is haunt the living. I love that. And I just love, like, yeah, I'm like, he's like, do you want that for yourself? And he's like, no. And he's like the tear coming down his cheek, and I love the final panel of him handing the detonator to Batman inside the bat symbol, and I love the cape work. Like, I love how the cape moves in this.
Yeah, the art. There's one coming up that has some fantastic art.
Steve Epting.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
Yeah, and of course you got Denny O'Neil, a great Batman writer, and I love Steve Epting. And this was cool for me because I always associate Steve Epting with Captain America, and that Brubaker run. So seeing this was, it kind of, for a second there, I thought we were kind of switching gears into a Brubaker Marvel book. So yeah, no, this was also like a great, but this was dark and this was sad.
Yeah, this one I was just like, geez, kind of a bummer. It goes from like Batman kind of being this like thoughtful but like tragic figure type thing, and then this is just like just a different perspective on Batman. Just be like,
yeah,
you're too much, dude.
I know. And this opening page just really sets the tone. I mean, it's just an old lady screaming. You know, it's like this is
Leslie Tompkins.
Yeah, who is also part of the Bat cast of characters. And but her perspective in this story makes sense.
Oh, for sure.
Because she's all about kind of like the youth outreach, and and I think her whole mission is for that other people to not become like Bruce. And I think maybe that when she looks at Bruce, that it's like looking at her own failure. Like that he's just like, ugh, man, like this is like the system failing him. And
yeah, because I mean, Bruce essentially is just like, when you really think about Batman, he's just this like obsessive, brutal, like he has like a moral code and he's a good guy, but he's like just a broken human. Like there's
oh, and yeah, and he's got some emotional.
Oh, for sure.
He's a little unhinged, which is kind of the cool thing about Batman, because like all the other villains, instead of going left, he went right. But I think even for her, it's still left for her. I think where it's still violence, and it's violence against the youth.
Specifically in this one.
Oh man, and it's there. I love this panel of like when this kid points a gun at Batman, and he's like, "You gonna fuck with me? I'm Batman," and just the bitch slap the kid
like
gets,
open hand slaps all of these kids.
Oh my god! And it's just like, I mean, just how it's drawn, it's like I feel like your cheeks would sting. Just I think just because of just the This is what I love about Steve Epting. That kinetic just energy really kind of jumps off the panel at you.
And just speaking of the art, the panel where it kind of is showing the flashback of Bruce's parents getting shot, and there's just the giant portrait of Batman like in the shadows kind of looming over them. That's a good ass page. It's a good looking page.
It is, especially when you think about how many times have we seen this.
But that's friggin' it's so good.
Well, you know what? Steve Epting would have been a great artist for Batman Year One. Like, this feels like such a Batman Year One book, where if they ever wanted to do a Batman, they've already done a Year Two, but if they ever wanted to do another origin story, which we don't need, but
just giving him and Brubaker a Batman trade or something.
Oh my god!
Oh, it'd be so good.
Yeah, if they were to do, because I know for a while, what was it, like Jeff Johns was doing the Earth One Batman. Like this would be a cool Earth One team.
Again, yeah, the art in this is freaking incredible, and the story is like super bleak, because then it's all these like little hoodlums and masks, and then you see them like get unmasked and just like kids, and Batman just freaking knocks them out.
I know, and I love where she's like, she's so horrified, and she's like, can't you see he's hurt enough, like, poor thing, and and I feel like Batman is like, I just slapped him. Do you know what I could have done? Like, I mean, I could make it so these kids don't walk again. Best case scenario, walk with a limp for the rest of their lives. Like, I feel like Batman's like, I fucking did them a favor. But, like, yeah, I just love that you feel sorry for him. He's like, no, for you. It's still great. I'm not trying to undermine the ending at all. It's great.
Well, hey, as the director who understands Batman better than anybody, Zack Snyder said, "You're out of your fucking mind if you don't think Batman kills people."
Oh, yeah, and what was he? You gotta wake the fuck up?
Yeah, or that whatever he said.
Oh, well, man, yeah. Well, it is amazing, just sort of the legion of Snyder fans who like vehemently defend his creative choices with Batman.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I guess more power to him. It's just not my Batman.
I mean, here's the best way to view those movies. This is the best lens to view them in. It's an Elseworld tale.
Exactly.
I think if you just look at it at that, it's way more enjoyable. And to be fair, Batman, he did used to kill people. What I think is interesting, though, that like he cites Dark Knight Returns as like a source of inspiration for him. But even in that, I mean, Batman, like, he breaks like a rifle gun over his knee, and he's like, "These are used by cowards."
Mm-hmm.
But what do we know?
Yeah.
We're just two guys in a podcast that moms listen to.
So wait, what's the next one here? We got the Neil Adams.
Neil Adams, I am very torn about his art.
Me too, because sometimes it's great and sometimes I think it's terrible.
I'm so sorry. Excuse me. That was well put. Yeah.
Like, do you remember he did like a Wolverine book like 8 or 9 years ago for Marvel?
Yeah. I just feel like it's just...
It was... Oh, the first X-Men. That's what it was.
Well, yeah, because he did used to do art for the X-Men, I think, right before Chris Claremont. Like, they were, when they were introducing the Sauron character. And even then, though, I thought, like, well, maybe the art just... Maybe he hasn't aged well, but even in the X-Men stuff, I'm like, it's okay. I don't know, and I'm not trying to bash Neil Adams because I appreciate what he's done for comics. I'm just saying it's not my cup of tea. Much like
sometimes you'll see some of like the Superman he draws and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, Neil Adams is freaking good, and like his old Batman stuff I really like, but I feel like as time went on, he got more. His line work changed a lot.
Yeah,
and it really shows in like this, where it's a lot.
It's
squigglier.
Loose. Yeah,
it's a lot looser.
Yeah, it's
and it's kind of the like artistic path that like Frank Miller went down.
Yeah.
Whereas like his old stuff is it's more tight and traditional, and then he kind of got more and more loose.
Yeah. Well, when I look at this, it almost kind of feels like I'm looking at a draft. Like if someone presented this, I'm like, okay, these are just some loose sketches. I'd be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Can't wait to see the finished product.
For kind of a lot of the stories in this, like I feel like it was like a looser Jim Lee in the Kevin Smith one, but this is very loose.
Yeah. I wasn't even all that particularly wild about this story.
Yeah, out of all of them, as we were kind of flipping through, I was like, yeah, this was one of the more forgettable of the stories.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just didn't... Like, I get what it was trying to say about how crime works, but it just felt... I don't know. It just felt like this may have been a better story if it had been allowed to play out.
Yeah, like if it was a full issue.
Yeah, like it just felt rushed. Like the infection began with his wallet. I don't know why like I read it like that, but
yeah, it's like
it doesn't have that emotional punch that I want it to have.
I didn't really get it either. So it's like people were leaving the League of Shadows because they wanted to pursue a capitalistic dream, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this one was I don't have much to say about it. I think the art is kind of meh. Not for me. Not my style.
But boy, the art in the next one.
Yeah, I want this creative team to make a Batman book so bad.
Yes. Now talk about, like kind of, yeah, exactly. Just, this book kind of gave me the same feeling that Steve Epting did. We're looking at people who, were working for Marvel, and I know them best from Marvel. So when I see Aleks Wong-Kmiec,
Alex Maleev, I don't really know how to pronounce it properly, but
call him Alex. I mean, and he does great work with Bendis.
Some of the best like Daredevil covers.
Oh my god!
Like some of the most iconic Daredevil covers were done by him.
Yeah. And I think as soon as I saw this first page, I knew the artist, and therefore was like, okay, this has got to be the Bendis story now.
Yeah. So
and that spread like just Batman coming from the sky. And I love the penguins from Batman Returns. That's totally what they're rocking, like the little.
Yep. Yeah, this is straight Tim Burton penguin.
Oh my god, yeah, it really is. This is like, yeah, just with the penguins and like the furry kind of collar he's got going on. But I dug it, because you don't normally see a lot of. I feel like Penguin isn't always the I think the go-to choice. Like if you had the opportunity to write a Batman story, I mean, would Penguin be your? I'm gonna go with a no.
Yeah, I'm not. I like Penguin, but
yeah, I do too. But I mean, he's not.
Yeah, I feel like people aren't chomping at the bits to write a Penguin book,
right? And that's exactly what I'm going for. But for Bendis, this seems like to make sense, especially given Bendis' street level storytelling. And I love that Penguin figured it out early on.
And like with some very baseline detective work, he's like, who's got a lot of money? Bruce Wayne's got a lot of money. Let me just follow Bruce Wayne to dinner one day.
Yeah.
Oh, figured it out.
Yeah.
But oh my god, the art is so good. Just like the expression on Penguin's face, how he's just like frowning, and then all of a sudden he like gets the idea and he gets a little smirk.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that panel, and I love how they're on opposite sides. Like, the top right is kind of like the frown, and he's got the smirk on the bottom left. And that smirk is so interesting because it almost looks, it's not sinister.
Yeah, he's just like, huh.
Like,
figured it out.
Like, yeah, like it's almost kind of like warm. Like if I was sitting across this guy for dinner, I see that smile and I think I might survive this night. And then you go to the next page and it's like it is full on Danny DeVito Penguin.
Oh, for sure, it's hilarious.
Like I mean, that is just it. That is Danny DeVito.
Yeah, you can tell what he was referencing, for sure.
Oh my god. On those 3 panels is Danny DeVito.
And Bruce Wayne is very Obi-Wan Kenobi in this.
Well, what I like... what's interesting about this panel and what it stirs in me is that kind of how much I appreciate the Danny DeVito Penguin. Because I feel like that's an underrated performance. That's not something I hear a lot when I talk to people about the Batman films. And when I look at these panels, I'm kind of bummed I didn't get another movie with him as the Penguin. The Penguin Returns. I'd see that movie.
Yeah, me too. They can make it right now. Get Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he could have survived.
All that blue blood just went right back into him.
I'll never. Yeah, that gave me nightmares. And for some reason, I thought and that movie came out in 92, I think,
something like that.
So I'm like 7 or 8 years old when I saw that movie, maybe even younger than that. And I thought that wow, that guy drank a lot of ink.
I just remember seeing it. I was probably like 4 or 5, seeing it on VHS, and just that scene always stuck out to me. And I was just like, oh my god. Do people have blue blood inside them? I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, yeah, and I like the creative choice because Penguin wasn't always like a monster in the books. And I thought that was such an inspired choice, and it gives him
a little weirder, not just a mob guy.
Well, and then you get the motivation that he was just—it's like Frankenstein, that your introduction is to the world as you're an outcast and you don't have a name. And that was Penguin's thing, was how thrilled he was when he found out who he was, when he found his birth records. What a great motivation. It's yeah, I mean, the guy is still a dick, but I kind of get where, I mean, I'd be pissed too. I don't know if I go kidnapping firstborns in the city, but I mean, fuck yeah, I'd be pissed too. Especially my parents were rich. My parents were Pee Wee Herman.
I gotta say though, I like the theme or like the overland story of this, where it's just like, yeah, I never told anybody who it was. It's like, because could you imagine if we destroyed the Bruce Wayne persona and Batman has nothing to lose? And he's just like, we're dead. We're all dead.
Yeah.
Like, Batman would snap. He would become full Zack Snyder Batman.
Yeah. I knew. I love Old Man Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Looks just like a weird, disgusting Benjamin Franklin.
Oh my! Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, and it basically is him. First of all, I don't know what kind of visit this is. That like, first of all, Penguin's alone with Bruce Wayne, and first of all, where are they? Where like he's allowed to like walk by himself on the beach. I mean, I get he's super old and probably no longer a threat, but like. You'd think he'd like have like a guard walking with him, you know, just in case the guy has a stroke on the shore.
They're around. They're just like sitting in a van texting people.
Yeah.
But I like how Batman has straight up the Empire or Emperor lightning from Star Wars built into his wheelchair.
I love how you reference Bruce as being both Obi-Wan and the Emperor.
I mean, it's very clear.
Yeah. And
but God, the art is so good. The colors and like the inking and stuff in these last few panels.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, and I love just like the seagulls flying at the end. And Larry's like, "Good visit." That was a good visit. And I was like, "I knew you knew, you know, just same I knew you were a coward." And the penguin was like, "You told me they couldn't speak, or you couldn't speak." That was some good stuff. I also have to say, I'm assuming it's okay to go to the next story, unless you have anything else to say about this one. I love... Well, first of all, I love Jeff Johns. I was never too crazy about the Earth 1 stuff, but I dug this story, and I love the Kelly Jones Batman art in this. Because,
I'm kind of...
Well, I think only because it just makes me so nostalgic for the Batman covers that I read as a kid.
I was going to say, it's very like... It reminds me so much of like the mid-90s Batman stuff.
It's like the Nightfall covers.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
It's just like even the coloring of it, it just like...
Oh, totally, dude. This
brings you right back to Nightfall.
Yeah, and this is, I think, one of those things where if you saw it as a kid, you appreciate it now, but if this is your first time seeing it, you would just be like, why is this guy working?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not my favorite artist, but for the nostalgia factor alone, it is so... It captures that mid-90s Batman so well.
Also, can we talk about the Bat Dog? How the collar is like the belt.
Yeah, they had Bat Dog in two stories.
God, I love it. But I love how he looks in this. I'm not like too wild about it legit being like a Bat family with like Catwoman's sad
I know.
lady boobs.
Yeah, they have their kids. Damien is like weird, muscular, old teenager guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird one. And I'm pretty sure that probably Jeff Johns like had this in mind if he knew the artist he was working with. Like, because I think sometimes Jeff Johns does a great job of playing to an artist's strengths, and I think this is a good example of that.
But yeah, it's a cool story. Just how it's like this weird dinner party of villains where they're all dead. And they're like, well, I guess that's it for crime.
Yeah.
And then the candles blow out.
I know.
And Alfred's like, so did you make a wish?
What a weird fucking wish. Like, I mean, I feel like that's more like a daydream. Like, I wish that my family... You know, it's like when people talk like, oh, man, it'd be great, like, you know, like, you buy a house across the street from us, and then our kids become friends. Like, I feel that's what it is. Like your kid is like, you know, is like my kid's nemesis, and it's just an ongoing loop. Like, wouldn't that be great, Rob? Like, like Max is Batman, and, you know, my little kid's just gonna be the Joker. Good times. Can't wait for the future.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is a weird one, but I like that they're doing it.
It's very fitting for an anthology book.
Yes.
That's what I will say about that.
Yeah, you're not going to be seeing a Batman Daydream story arc anytime soon.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be one of those stories where, like, Batman gets concussed and you're just, like, you know, in this, like, daydream with him for, like, issues before he wakes up, and it's like, wow, all that meant nothing.
I did really like the art in the next one, though.
Yeah, this is a cool one, too, and I think one of my favorite splash panel is, like, the pow and the stars are over that dude's eyes. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has such a... It's, like, very modern art, but it captures kind of the fun... Like... It has almost like a Darwin Cook vibe, even though the art is nothing like Darwin Cook's. Just that same, like, kind of...
I think there's, like,
golden
a
age feel.
There's a definite strong influence there.
Yeah, so Alvaro Martinez Bueno. I don't know if I'm familiar with his art. I probably am, but yeah. So this is kind of just like the original kind of Robin origin story, kind of from like Batman. Just like I can't even. I forgot. I lost my track.
I mean, this is a long book. It's 96 pages.
Yeah, I read it all yesterday, and I was just like, man, this just... It's funny when you read stuff digitally, you just, like, have no idea. 96 pages, because it's like, the book's not getting any smaller. I just keep scrolling.
Yeah.
I felt that way when I read Rebirth, like, 2 years ago. I was just like... And that I think I bought the issue of. I forget. But I was just like, kept reading, and I was like, how long is this thing?
Yeah. It was good, though.
Oh, Rebirth was still like one of my favorite single issues of a comic. It's so good.
Yeah.
We should read Doomsday Clock and talk about that when it's fully done.
Yeah. Well, exactly, because I almost kind of feel like, I mean, not that the stories in between have been bad, because they've been awesome. I think DC's killing it right now. But I think reading Rebirth and then just jumping to Doomsday Clock, you could do.
Yeah, especially if you have some like knowledge of the leading up to stories like the Flash and Batman stuff, which I read, so...
Yes. Oh, right. Yeah. Good call. Good call. Yeah, that would make sense too. But the Robin thing was cool. I feel like, kind of doing a Robin story is just as essential as kind of doing Batman. And then we get the Tom King story, which I was saying earlier how great the Snyder stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
But Tom King's Batman run right now is so damn good. Like, if Snyder trained Tom King, he'd be doing his mentor proud. Like, it's really good. Like, because after the Snyder run, I'm like, who in the hell can top that? But Tom King is holding his own. This is
Tom King was kind of like learned a lot from Snyder. He was doing a lot of the backups during that run.
I mean, it's a great Batman story. Like, I mean, Rooftops, the whole Selena Bruce story.
Yeah, that issue of them going on like a date night is like such a good issue of Batman.
It really is. And, and I know people were upset about the wedding not panning out, which I feel like, I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, it just seemed too easy for it to go through. But also his arc isn't done. And, like, it's still being, like, I mean, that was the July 4th issue, and here we are in April. And it's like the ramifications are still being felt. It's where you don't feel like it's just like a throwaway. But it's good. And I really dug this, mainly because of the Tony Daniels art.
Yeah, the art is really, really good in this.
Yeah, I mean, he does a great job of Batman on a rooftop. You know what?
All his characters are a little tall and skinny.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I'm not wild about the new Batgirl suit. The other one was, like, perfect. I don't know why. Like
the
I like
Babstar one.
Well, yeah. I mean, the cowl, like, it made sense. Now it's just a domino mask that comes out of the back of her head through her hair. Like,
Yeah, it's a little uninspired for
It
sure.
is. I'm just thinking of the practicality of it. Oh, I gotta go. There's crime. Oh, let me fix my hair so these cute little ears can come out. It's like throwing on the bat helmet makes sense because you just throw it on. It's protective. It does a better job of concealing your identity. I don't know who designed this. I'm pretty sure whoever did, I'm thinking, had a penis.
You're probably right there. You're probably right.
But
I do like how half this issue is just the Bat family just kind of like bickering and teasing each other and being like, "What are we doing here? Is it because I
Yeah.
did something wrong?"
oh god, the picture and like Batman's as cheese, and he's just like fucking just doing the opposite of what you do when you say cheese.
No, like imagine being part of this group. Like this makes Batman seem like even more of this just
Fucking
super
nutcase.
weird nutcase guy. Just comes out of nowhere and he's just like, "Geez," takes a picture, smiles, and like, "What the fuck just happened?"
What I love is that, first of all, again, the fucking dog is the best part of this picture.
Mm-hmm.
The Domino mask, he just looks fucking pumped to be there. I love that. And I love that, yeah, I mean, it's a goofy fucking picture. I mean, I love it. It's goofy. I mean, the detail is great. But, like, you look at, like, I don't know, I guess you wouldn't just, I don't know. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I mean, I don't understand the purpose of this picture. I mean, especially when fucking Red Hood shows up with his mask on. It's like, dude, we all know it's you under there. It's a fucking family picture. Why in the fuck are you wearing that goofy thing? And I love that, like, everyone's looking serious and, like, Barbara's doing, like, the hand on
I know
hip.
that like sorority girl pose.
Oh my god, this is the fucking cheerleader meet?
That woman just like makes sure a good gust of wind came, so she gets her
I know. This
cape flowing in the wind.
You probably can't see it. Alfred's probably holding up a little mini fan. They probably
Yeah,
coordinated
just, he's like,
before.
Gotta get it good.
I do like that the signal is in there.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
he's-
I mean,
he's
they
a
have
little-
to.
He's a little in the back. He could be a little closer. I mean, come on. You're going to make the one black guy stand as far away from the rest of the white people as possible. It's like, you're with us, but...
It's like, yeah, you're the newest one, but you know, Snyder did make you. So, or was that Snyder or was that King?
I think that was Snyder.
Yeah, it was the end of Snyder, right?
Yeah. So, if you're a Snyder creation, you should just be right up in there. Also, and I'm trying to figure out who some of these characters are. Like, you know, like...
Did you read Detective Comics when Batwoman was the head of the team?
Yeah.
And they're kind of like a attack squad type thing?
I loved it.
Yeah,
So-
it was really good. They're
so-
mostly from that, I think.
Right. Well, I guess so. I mean, I get, you know, the quiet one because she was Batgirl, and then they brought her back, and I guess it's the other two ladies in the hoods. First of all, I don't know who the Todd McFarlane one looking is. That's just a pair of white slits in the darkness.
Yeah, it's like if Todd McFarlane drew Raven.
Yeah, I mean, is that like? I mean, is one supposed to be Huntress? Like in the white and purple? I don't know.
It looks like Huntress, like a young Huntress.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, is the other girl the one that was like with Tim Drake, who was like his girlfriend, and she's like the spoiler or something like that?
The spoiler might be the girl in the hood, because the spoiler she's the blonde one, right?
Maybe, I don't know. I had to go back
so
and read it.
many Batman adjacent characters.
I know, and also whatever happened to the other one who was like, she was sort of in the. She was part of like the Batman Eternal storyline where she was like Mockingbird or
Oh, it was she.
she was like short hair, it was like short blue hair. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
to her.
she was like messing around with the electrical grid early on in the Snyder run.
Right, like it was like.
She's the one who found Batman during the Joker arc
Yeah.
because he like washed up into the shore. Yeah, I don't know. She just kind of fell by the wayside.
I don't know if she was like, I tried it. I really wasn't feeling the whole vigilante thing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to being a plumber. Good benefits. I'm in the union. It's fine.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, but I did like though him bringing the picture to his parents' grave
Mm-hmm.
because it's almost just. I think it's just a nice. It's a nice juxtaposition of where he's been, where he is now, and that he has family, as fucking goofy and crazy as most families are. So
for sure,
I like it. And of course, you kind of got some good. Well, they're not all good. You kind of have these like these one shots, like, you know how, like, you know, back in the day where they would kind of do these, like, oh, this tearaway pinup.
Yep, just kind of like the
the Batman Joker
shots.
Riddler thing is cool. I love the Jason Fabuk. I don't know. I love that spread. I love his Batman. It's great. It's a cool spread. I love that Catwoman is in the center, because I think there could be more to come. Again, those stupid fucking ears though on Batgirl are fucking killing me.
Yeah, it's just it's such like a 1990s costume.
It just looks like like antenna. Like, I just don't know what is going on. Is she a bat or a rabbit?
She saw Batwoman's pointy mask and was like, I guess I need pointy ears to fit in.
Yeah, I don't know. But so like that. But then you get this Amanda Connor thing. I fucking hate this. This is like,
yeah, it's like, what's even going on here?
This like the pearls or the fucking constellation. Like, I look at this and it's like, I can show you the world.
Yeah, like those are supposed to be his parents, I assume, right?
I get
that. I'm reading that. Okay, yeah, but like, the thing is, like, I saw that at first and I'm like, what am I even looking at? And then I had to think about it. I'm like, oh, those must be his parents, and they're doing the Mufasa thing.
Like, it's just, yeah, it's a little bit of Lion King and a little bit of Aladdin, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I can't even say get what they're going for. And I like Amanda Connor too, but oh my god, this shit is cheesy.
Yeah, I mean, especially going from the Jason Fabok one, which is like this like sick fucking poster of like the Batman universe, and then
this looks like, oh, we wrote this for the ladies, you know, for the sensitive ones. This is what this fucking looks like.
Yeah, it's the romance cover.
This is the one you give to your kid's sister to read. Fuck, I hate this. Like I was having such a good time reading this book, Batgirl ears and all, and then they don't even have pupils. It's like they have the Captain America thing going on. Remember your criticism with the current Captain America that he doesn't have any eyes?
Yep. It's the worst.
I get it.
Decision.
That argument makes sense here because they look demonic as shit. Like, is this like Batman is gonna need help from John Constantine to fucking exorcise these two fucking farts following him around? I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so passionate about this, but anyway.
Yeah, well, that brings us to the very last one, which I believe is
this is dope.
It's kind of the prequel to the next Batman arc, I assume.
Mm-hmm. I love the art in this, and I love like the panel of Batman like holding Joker by the collar, and he's got a fucking knife in his chest.
Yeah, so the art's by Doug Manka. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it is real good. Kind of DC like house style, but a little more like visceral, I guess.
I love his art. He does good Batman stuff, and I love the Man-Bat panel.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that. The Man-Bat panel is great. I love the classic Ra's al Ghul fight where he has the masks and the gloves but takes his shirt off. That is a great fucking look. I want to see that in a Batman movie someday. I will fight you in the heat of the
hair
desert.
On their chest, though.
Yeah,
like, speaking of Neil Adams, Neil Adams embraced the superhero chest hair.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, good for him. But yeah, I want to see a movie where it's like, yeah, whoever the actor is has the fucking sweaty rubbery mask on and nothing else. Just fucking. But it's got to be like the Chris Nolan cape, because it's just gonna be hilarious trying to see him turn his whole body to turn his head.
Yep.
But yeah, I support that.
I am pretty, like, this does make me want to read this arc. My only complaint is the lettering, or the box, like the text box. I don't like that weird. You don't like
that like 90s like Terminator
metallic
like
gradient.
Yeah.
They did like word art.
That looks like actually when you bought your copy of the Terminator on VHS and you look at the back and it's the synopsis. This is what the synopsis would be in.
It literally looks like they went into Microsoft Word 95,
God.
made the text box, and then even the lettering looks kind of cheesy. But
you know what though, the art makes it bearable.
the art is so sweet, and I like this guy who's just like thinks Batman is like bad. It's kind of like the old lady mini, where it's just like Batman just like preys on the weak and is all
This Batman is he's a bad mofo.
Yeah.
I mean, I also love the Batmobile just suspended by vines filled with cats. It's like, you wouldn't think it would work, but it does. And I think it's interesting that, like, Poison Ivy looks like Dawn. Remember that?
Yep.
That's totally what she looks like. She just
Michael
needs
Turner thing.
She needs like this.
Was
like
that Michael Turner?
She needs the 3 mascara tears coming down her face, and that's what it would be. But it still looks good though. You know, and I love the Bane panel. Like, this would be like, oh man, if I had this as a poster when I was 10, this shit would be my wallpaper. I would buy 10 of these and just fill up my tiny wall in my room, or even my Trapper Keeper. It's awesome. I love it. And I love the Court of Owls panel too, fighting one of the Talons.
Yeah, I love how it's literally just like 6 splash pages of fight scenes.
Oh, it's great.
And they're all so sick.
See, now this is what I want from a Batman anthology. You know, I just want cool art of him fighting his villains. And I gotta say, the end reveal of it being Arkham Knight from the video game is interesting, because in the video game, which is something I never thought I would hear myself say out loud, but in the video game, it's still jarring. No, one more time. In the video game, no, I'm feeling my virginity come back. It's weird. But in that reimagining of Batman, Arkham Knight, that's basically the Red Hood story. So if the Red Hood is around, who is the Arkham Knight? I don't know. That's why you got to read it.
Yeah, I'm in. I didn't play that game. I bought it when it was on sale for my computer, and there's a really bad glitch that made the game crash every time, and they never fixed it. So I got my money back, and I haven't played it. But I hear the story was really good.
You got to play it, man. It's good.
Maybe they fixed it.
Yeah, I mean, do you have a PS4?
I don't, but I have an Xbox. It's probably on that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I bought that, and I bought, they retooled the previous games. Like
Arkham City and
Arkham Town and Arkham Community.
Arkham County was really my favorite. The farming simulation is really great.
I know. Well, I think I liked all the agricultural crimes that were taking place. Like, who's stealing my cows? It was great.
Who's looking out for those people?
And that's where the Bat Cow comes in, which, for those paying attention, is a real thing. Thanks to Grant Morrison, Batman Incorporated. And I love this, the way that the hair looked like a bat symbol. Anywho, good stuff. So, and that is all we get for this review. And I think the last thing is that there's a promotion for Batman and the Outsiders, which I will read. Because Batman having his own team doing anything, there could be a Batman book where it's just them doing community service. I fucking read the shit out of that.
So is Batman and the Outsiders basically just like Wolverine in the X-Force?
I don't know.
There's
See, I'm behind.
We can't get the X-Men together. We got to get the Outsiders.
Well, because there was also that Justice League for America that he was doing, where it was like Batman. First of all, the idea that Batman of just telling Lobo what to do was great. So I got to get caught up and read that. But I mean, like I said, Batman doing anything with a bunch of people. I'm there. I mean, it could be Batman and the Game Nighters, and it's just everyone coming over. Like that cheesy picture, but they're playing board games. Fuck yeah, I'd read that. Fucking them playing Risk, and Bruce getting pissed off if he loses. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's not a good winner or a good loser. He's not a good either.
Yeah. But no, this was a fantastic tribute to The Dark Knight. It's not perfect. I would say that the majority of it is pretty solid, and I still say that the Kevin Smith story makes all of this worthwhile. That
the Kevin Smith one was great.
Story, fucking shit. He gunned down my feelings like the parents in the alley. I mean, shit. I lost my pearls everywhere. This is getting weird, but the point is, it's good, and you got to read it.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a good investment. It is a hearty comic book.
This I would even go as far as to say if you bought the issue, this is something be cool to have around. Keep it in the bathroom, something quick to read.
Yeah.
Just read a story.
Short stories.
Yeah, it's good. And I know it sounds like I'm trashing it, but I'm really not. I really did like this. Anything I keep around in my bathroom that I read, that's high praise.
Yeah, you're not going to keep stuff you don't want to read in the bathroom.
Fuck no. No, if I'm sitting there, I know I'm going to be a while. Oh, yeah, Batman 1000, what's up? This shit just got better. No pun intended. So I think, now that we're in Multiverse, and it's a new thing, it's a new page, we're turning a new corner. Did you still want to do what we've been reading? Anything you want to promote, or?
Yeah, I haven't been reading too much this week. I've been busy being a dad now and working and all that fun stuff.
Being an adult.
I have watched all of Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, which is another anthology of short animated sci-fi and horror fantasy type stuff, and it is awesome.
Yeah.
It is. There's so many cool ideas in there, so much awesome animation. I'm probably going to write an article about some of my favorite stories in there, but it's like there's a handful of those that I would just like full movies made out of because they're such cool little ideas. It's like if you gave a bunch of like nerdy, smart film school sci-fi geeks like huge budgets, like what would they come up with? And it's really rad. I would suggest it for everyone.
Yeah. No, it's I second that. It's very, very, very good. I'm trying to think what I have been in the process of enjoying. Still reading X-Men. I'm in the 90s now with 9,000 different books. Can't recall if I mentioned this last time. X-Force, not really enjoying. I think I enjoyed it when I was a kid. Not so much now, but X-Factor, written by Peter David, is fucking awesome. That has aged well. That is...
Yeah, every time I go back and I read just stuff from that era, like I read Executioner's Song over, which is like the crossover between X-Men, Uncanny, X-Force, and X-Factor, I think.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, as a kid, I liked the X-Force and crap like that, but then you go back and you're just like, oh, wait, no, never mind. X-Factor is actually the best one here for sure.
X-Factor is X-Factor when the original X-Men aren't there. When you have, like, Multiple Man and Havoc and Polaris and Strong Guy. It's great.
There's some early Lionel Francis Yu art in there, too, I believe.
Yeah. I think you might be right on that, actually. But it's very good. I have also started a new book called Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff, and it's basically the Green Book if you added Lovecraftian horror to it. It's about this guy. He's an African-American Korean War vet coming back to the U.S. Dad goes missing, and he tries to find his dad, but he's got to do it according to the Green Book because there are just places that you couldn't go if you were black. So it's sad in one sense, but just what a cool story of kind of explaining the real horrors in the U.S. It's like really well done. I'm still in the beginning, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I watched Justice League versus the Fatal Five. Awesome. Really enjoyed it. It's basically, you remember the cartoon Justice League Unlimited?
Mm-hmm.
It's a continuation. So it's like
cool.
It's the Bruce Timm art. The original actors that did Superman and Wonder Woman, and of course Kevin Conroy as Batman. They're all in it, but with a new addition of Jessica Cruz, who's the newest Green Lantern who suffers from anxiety. And I thought they did such a good job with it. It's a great movie. Check it out. Or read my review on graphicmultiverse.com and then watch it, or do both, one or the other. Definitely check out the website, though, because I mentioned earlier, brand spanking new content and more content will be coming at you more frequently. So check it out.
I just remembered.
graphicmultiverse.com.
It wasn't Lionel Francis Yu I was thinking of. It was Jay Lee. He's the one. There's some good early Jay Lee work in those 90s X Factors.
Check it
But
out.
yes. Check it out. Good stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to say that enjoy your issues.